I was not expecting that.
That's the intro.
That's awesome. I didn't want to laugh because I didn't know if you had like some greater plan for the intro. It was funny though.
It's good. I'm glad you thought it was funny. But yeah, we made it. We made it to 2.
We made it to 2. New record.
New record. I kept some notes about the last time we recorded, and I'm going to try to say less.
Do I need to do that also?
No, but if your audio starts cutting out again, we should probably just restart the Discord chat or something.
Okay.
But other than that, no, you're fine. Your audio actually sounds better than mine when it isn't cutting out, so...
Awesome.
Which, are you recording using like a headset, or...?
No, I have an actual microphone.
Oh, okay, cool. I guess it's time for me to upgrade for my shitty Tonor mic.
Yeah, I just have a regular, like, $50 Razer mic that I bought when me and Levi did that Resident Evil 8 stream.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're at episode 2. I already said
Don't worry, we'll work on your strange addiction.
So, I guess you don't have a ton of stuff to talk about for the recent events stuff.
Now every time I say it, I laugh.
You just cut out.
Oh, this is going great. The only new thing that's been going on with me is I recently started playing Hades again. I forgot how much fun that game is.
Hey, isn't Hades 2? Isn't like the beta out or something?
Yeah, it's early access is out on PC right now.
Okay,
but
you don't have a PC, do you?
No, I don't. But I'm kind of glad that I don't have a chance to play it, because I feel like I would enjoy it more just getting the full experience whenever it's out. Instead of like just experiencing bits and pieces of it every few months, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same as like when I played Dead by Daylight and like the new PTB would come out and it's like, oh, you can try the new killer, and I'd rather just wait for... I don't want to play like a really strong killer and enjoy it, and then it gets launched and it's like they get nerfed.
Yeah,
I'd rather just not experience them being strong to begin with.
Yeah, I'm also like that, where usually when a game has like a trial or a demo or something before it comes out, I usually just wait until unless it's something I'm really excited for.
Right.
But... Well, I've got some stuff to talk about. So last time, I was talking about the Pinball FX stuff that was coming out. That stuff is out now, except the Texas Chainsaw table isn't out yet. That's coming out on like the 6th of June or something. I don't fucking remember.
Oh, yeah.
But the Pacific Rim table is cool. I haven't gotten the trilogy TV pack thing that has Knight Rider and Battlestar Galactica and stuff in it. But there was also a free soccer table, and it's actually the best table of the bunch that I've played.
A soccer table?
Yeah, it's actually really fun, because it's like you're playing like an actual match of soccer. So there's like scores and stuff for your team, and you're facing another team, and every time you fuck something up, they get a score.
Okay.
And yeah, it's cool. It's a cool table.
Cool.
The Pacific Rim one is cool too, but I haven't gotten to play it a bunch. Also, Multiverses is coming out soon, and we've gotten some Multiverses announcements. Which
really? More than just the Joker?
Yeah.
That's all I've heard, is that the Joker's going to be a character.
Yeah, the Joker looks cool. I'm just excited for the game to come back, really,
Right.
because I miss it. I miss playing as Superman and Tom
Yeah.
and Jerry. But they announced some PvE Rift mode thing, which I watched it with like the subtitles on. I didn't like listen to it or anything.
Uh-huh.
But they also announced a Banana Guard character from Adventure Time, and he
Banana
actually,
Guard?
yeah, and he actually looks kind of cool.
Who's Banana Guard?
He's just a fucking rando from Adventure Time. There's like a bunch of them. They're like
Oh.
just basic like guard people for
I see.
the princess.
I think I stopped watching Adventure Time after like 5 episodes. Not because it was bad or anything, just because I didn't watch a lot of TV when I got to that age.
That's fair. Adventure Time was pretty good. I stopped watching as soon as he lost his arm.
Mm.
But yeah, that looks cool.
You know what else is coming out soon is the Elden Ring DLC.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
We'll
have to
do we'll have to do an Elden Ring episode at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a segment where we talk about that DLC once we both get to play it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll need to do a like full episode for that DLC or anything, but I think we'll probably end up
At some
whatever
point we'll do an Elden
episode.
Ring one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
But that'll probably be a ways off because I have a lot of stuff that I want to recommend before then. Unless you want to do
Same.
it at some, yeah.
No, I'm kind of from softed out
That's
after
fair.
getting like 4 platinums in the last year.
Yeah, fair enough. And we did just talk about Dark Souls.
Yeah, that too.
One more thing. Balatro got an update, and I've been playing.
Really?
I've been playing that a lot. Yeah,
I did not know that.
they rebalanced a lot of the cards. They made the tags a lot better too, because I remember the tags fucking sucked before, because there was like no point to skip because all the tags sucked, or most of them sucked.
Right. Well, I found a lot of the time I skipped in the higher stakes anyway, because at least the first what's it called? The first round, I guess.
Yeah.
You wouldn't make any money. So like there was
Yeah.
no point to not skip.
Well, it doesn't give you any reward money, but you still got like interest and
Right.
the money
Yeah,
for
you still
your
got that.
remaining hands.
Yeah. It all just depended on what kind of deck you had.
Yeah.
But
But the tags themselves were underwhelming.
right. I always liked the ones that had like guaranteed like whatever type of Joker was guaranteed in the shop next. I always liked those.
Yeah, well, they made some of those better because now, before there would be tags like, oh, there's an uncommon Joker in the next shop. Now it's also free.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And it makes
That's actually really nice because the one I did the most, the one I thought had the most value was the free reroll one.
Oh, really?
That's the one I use the most anyway because it's
Yeah.
like you essentially save $5.
Yeah, but no, it's really useful now. The game is actually easier as a result of the changes, which I think they were intending to make it a little bit easier.
That makes sense
'Cause they
like,
also-
I feel like to get like a really good run like you had the other day, like it took a lot of luck.
Yeah. And I haven't had a run near as good as that since then.
Right. That's like a unicorn run.
Yeah. But the antes, or not the antes, the higher stakes are also different. Like they introduced a new Joker type. They're perishable Jokers. So it's basically the opposite of eternal ones. After a few rounds of using them, they deteriorate in use.
Okay.
So you end up selling them eventually.
Right.
So that's cool that they added those in. And I don't have like a list of all the changes they made. They rebalanced a few of the Jokers, like they changed stats and stuff on some of them. Mostly they just changed the ones that sucked and made them a little bit better.
That's nice.
I can't really I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head, but I could definitely tell.
I'll take your word
playing,
for it.
Yeah, I could definitely tell playing it that it was different and it was mostly for the better. Yeah, I'll probably be putting
Nice.
a few more, quite a few more hours into that as a result of that.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out again because I really haven't, especially with me playing Hades again. I just haven't felt the need to play Balatro.
Hmm.
I think I was talking to Josh about it the other day. I think I'm gonna platinum Hades again because I platinumed the PS4 version because when I got the PS5, I was already like halfway done with Hades or something.
Yeah.
But now I have the PS5 version as a
Could
fresh
you not?
save.
Could you not move over your data for your trophies and stuff?
No,
Huh.
because it's two different versions of the game.
Well, Resident Evil, you can do that in a, or is it like an actual like? Do they change shit in the PS5 port or?
I think it has like different like visual settings and like it just runs different.
I see.
I think it's not a port; it's like an actual different version.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's cool because getting the platinum for that game's pretty fun anyway.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially for you to get the platinum for like a fucking roguelike game, it must be fun.
Yeah,
I also beat DMC 2 and 3 and I'm on 4, but I'm not going to talk about that super in depth because we are going to talk about that at another point.
yeah,
But I enjoyed 3 and 2 is a piece of shit, that's all I'll say.
yeah. That's pretty well sums up the franchise right there. 3 is cool, 2 sucks.
Indeed. I guess if that's all, unless you have anything else you want to bring up.
No, I'm ready to discuss the topic at hand.
Awesome. So another note that I wrote down, just thinking about stuff from last time, we didn't really obviously we talked about Dark Souls a lot, but we didn't really like give an overview of it in case people have like not played it or something.
Sure.
So I'm going to introduce this game real quick before we talk about it. Since
cool.
I'm the bigger fan of the franchise, I've played all the games.
You're the bigger Fran?
Yeah, I'm the bigger fan.
Yeah.
So Rift Apart is the latest installment in the Ratchet and Clank franchise, and it picks up pretty much right where Into the Nexus leaves off. They completely ignore the continuity of the remake, which is good. I like that game as a game. The story sucks because it's based off the movie. But basically at the end of Into the Nexus, the Dimensionator gets repaired. The bad guy has it, and they have to get it back, and it gets broken. And there's a stinger at the end of the game where Clank like yanks it, and it implies that he's gonna fix it.
That's cool.
Which yeah, I think that quite a few years pass in between then and now in the game. Like I think it's supposed to be like real time, like since the release of Into the Nexus and the release of Rift Apart.
That makes sense because in the intro, whenever they talk about Nefarious, Ratchet mentions that Nefarious has been retired longer than they have.
Yeah, because Nefarious
that
hasn't.
implies they've been retired for a while.
Yeah, and Nefarious hasn't shown up since I think All for One, which was a while before Into the Nexus.
So is that game's canon?
It is canon, yeah. They're all canon except for the remake.
Okay. That's
and
good.
There might be some like shitty mobile games that aren't canon too. But...
I'm glad you decided to do this little introduction to the game because I'm basically with the audience, other than the fact that I've played this one recently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I figured some context would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a. You don't have to play any of the other games to play this one. It stands on its own pretty well. It pretty much tells you everything it has to.
Yeah.
There's a few things that they do later that you probably won't get as much out of if you're not a fan of the series.
Right.
But it's a fun little story about Clank tries to help Ratchet find the other Lombaxes by repairing the Dimensionator. Nefarious steals it, and he's an idiot, and he doesn't know what he's doing, so he basically just fucks everything up and tears rifts into every dimension, trying to find a dimension where he wins all the time. And he does.
Mm-hmm.
And then we meet the Ratchet and Clank of that dimension, Rivet and Kit, and they're their own cool characters, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, it's a fun return to form. I mean, the Ratchet games are all pretty similar for the most part, but it's a nice return to the franchise after the remake, since it does have the continuity of those other games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'll leave it at that.
It's a good rundown.
But yeah, I'll since you just beat it tonight, is there anything fresh on your mind that you wanted to get off your chest before we talk in depth about the game? Like, what was your overall opinion after
I liked it a
beating
lot. I liked it a lot. Let me see. Actually, I did not. to set the tone, I did not even think to add it to my top games list.
Oh, really?
Not because it was bad, but because it wasn't so good that I'm like, oh, where is this on my list?
Yeah.
You know, because I already had it from me playing it the first time at like high 30s. That's tough because I have it right behind Marvel Spider-Man, but this I like this game a lot. The gameplay is like great.
Oh yeah.
The story, I like the story in it. It just I personally don't like Kit that much.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm not. I had a pretty good laugh in the final act of the game whenever you fight Nefarious as Rivet, and Kit comes to save Rivet at one point. When Nefarious's ship like gets shot by something, I thought, oh, who's that? What's that going to be? I had already forgotten that Kit was a character. I kid you the fuck not. And so when Kit came back in, I started like actually howling laughing. I don't know.
That's
something about Kit just didn't like it just didn't hit me. So
see, that's interesting.
I like Rivet a lot though.
Yeah, Rivet's cool. I liked Kit. I think that the thing about Kit is that I think she works better with Ratchet than Rivet.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I feel like one, like you just said, she works better with Ratchet than she ever does with Rivet. And two, I feel like her and Clank just didn't have a lot to like interact with. Like the whole thing with Rivet and Ratchet meeting is it's like they're both the last Lombaxes of their universe, so like, you know, there's something interesting there.
Yeah.
But with Rivet and Clank Kid and Clank, it's just like they're both robots.
Yeah.
It's like that's not.
To be fair, they're both defective warbots, and
yeah, but they don't. Clank is so far past that being part of his character that like there's nothing to do there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's probably why they like talk once in the entire game.
Right. I thought that was weird too. It's similar to like how I felt about when I watched No Way Home and Tobey Maguire didn't say any words to Willem Dafoe. You know?
Yeah.
It's like why like that feels like a layup. Like why didn't they write something in the script there? But
yeah.
Otherwise, I like the gameplay a lot. I like all the weapons. I like pretty much everything about the game. So
yeah, I also enjoyed the game quite a bit. When this game came out, I definitely liked it a lot more. It definitely blew me away when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still like it a lot. I think that it's not far from the best Ratchet and Clank game, but it's definitely, like, it's in my top 3, I think.
That's pretty good for a series with like 8 games.
Yeah. But the thing is like a lot of those games are like pretty old too.
That's true.
And they just a lot of them are so short, and this one is very short.
Yeah, it is.
It has a lot of like weapon variety and stuff.
Right.
And I like the story. The writing is a little bit iffy at times. But no, overall I like this game. I think my opinion of it definitely went a little bit down, but that's just because
Oh, really?
my tastes have changed since the last time I played this game. This game came out in like 2021, I think.
Right.
So it's been a little while. And I think that a lot of aspects of this game don't hold up on repeat playthroughs.
Like what?
There's a few levels where like I just did not fucking feel like going through and like doing all the stuff again.
Oh, really?
A lot of the levels are very linear. I know that you said that you really liked the planet that was like underwater and the monster was chasing you. That area annoyed the fuck out of me this time around because I already knew like how to beat all the puzzles, and like I knew like when he was gonna jump into the room where to hit the things and stuff, and it was not scary at all for me.
When was the last time you replayed this?
I don't think I've replayed it since I platinumed it, or not. It's probably. I don't think I've beaten the game since I platinumed it.
You just have a much better memory than I do, then.
I probably do. I'm definitely good at remembering stuff that I like.
Right. Yeah, that's something. I had the opposite problem you did, where this time around I definitely feel like my opinion of it's better because like I'm gonna think about this game more. Like after I beat it at your place when it came out, I didn't think about it like ever again.
Yeah.
But I will, because I played it more in depth, I'll think about this like a lot on my own probably.
That's good.
So, one thing I do really like about this game is that it is probably the closest I've gotten to 100%ing a game before I had to look anything up.
Yeah, I don't think that I ever had to look anything up. Maybe some of the Lombax orb shit on Savali.
The only things, I had to look up 2 things. I had to look up, like I said, what I'm grinding for now with the, what's it called? The Void Repulsor, getting that to level 5 before you can actually do the trophy. And I had to look up 2 of the Snaggle Bears, or whatever they're called.
Oh, the Krager Bears?
Krager Bears, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about those things.
I couldn't find the one on, the prison planet. And
Zordoom,
I couldn't find the...
Viceron.
And I couldn't find the one on, what is it? I can't remember. It's the planet where you have to keep hitting the crystals. As it's the rivet.
Or Blizon Prime, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah, Prime. Yeah, that's it. The rivet planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that one, I had to look it up for those 2. Otherwise, I found them all naturally on every other planet, which felt pretty good.
Yeah, did you know that I think the Krager Bears are supposed to be like, I think one of the devs like died while they were making the game or something, and I think that those are like in memoriam of him or something.
Yeah, I think I heard about that or something.
So those have always felt like a weird collectible to me, but whatever. I want to, before we talk about like gameplay and stuff, I want to talk about character stuff so that we can talk more in depth about the new characters and how we feel about them.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first of all, you said that you didn't like Kit.
It's not so much that I didn't like Kit, it's that I feel like they don't do much with the character other than like the whole reveal that Kit's the one that destroyed Rivet's arm or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like other than they kind of just leave the character super dry.
Yeah, I think the problem is that it's very like kids movie feeling.
Right.
Because the entire time, like they're really hamming down that she's got this character arc where she doesn't want to be around anyone because she's scared she's going to hurt people. And Ratchet kind of gets her to liven up a bit. And then she figures out, like, while she's with Rivet, like, oh shit, I did this to her, I'm bad, I'm still bad, or or whatever. I think that the way that it turns out in the end is kind of lame, with her just kind of like leaving and then just coming back at the end.
Yeah,
because like you know she's gonna come back. They're not just gonna get rid of her. Like
I feel like with that situation, they could have either had a much more touching moment between Rivet and Kit and like just fix their problem there, or the game should have been longer and let that tension build between them instead of just like off screen being like, yeah, I decided I should save the universe. That sounded like a good idea.
yeah.
Sorry I was so mean or like
Yeah, this
you know.
the writing for this movie feels a lot like a DreamWorks
this movie?
this game. It feels like a lot. It feels a lot like a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah.
Like I got like Kung Fu Panda vibes and like
Sure, yeah.
like old Pixar vibes, not like a shitty new Pixar. And it looks like a Pixar movie too. It looks better than the fucking Elemental movie.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I remember when Tools of Destruction came out, and that was like my first game that I ever owned was Tools of Destruction. On the back of the case was a review from some outlet, I don't remember, but they said that it was like playing a Pixar movie. And it was,
that makes sense.
and it was absolutely not true for Tools of Destruction.
But, oh yeah, for that game? No.
Yeah, but this game definitely feels like you're playing a Pixar movie.
Right.
But getting back to the characters and somewhat the writing, I agree with you that they definitely didn't utilize Kit enough. She felt like a like side character, kind of.
Yeah. I feel like the whole dynamic between Ratchet and Rivet just like narratively made a lot more sense for them to be like alternate dimension versions of each other, because like Rivet is a leader almost and like a rebel function in this universe, which is cool because in Ratchet's timeline he's rebellious in the fact that he was kind of an asshole back in the day. He's just like a rebellious teenager, whereas like she is like a super responsible rebel in the fact that like people count on her to like save the world.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, it's just their dynamic works a lot better. And then like I said, they have the build up to like meeting each other because they're both the last of their race in their respective universe. Whereas with the two robots, it's just like Clank is so like the whole dynamic that Clank and Kit share is so far gone from where Clank is now in the series that like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. What I kind of picked up from the whole Kit stuff was like it was more so what Clank could have been than like a mirror of what he is now.
I guess so.
Because they really delve more into the Warbot stuff. They never do that with Clank outside of like the giant Clank segments in the other games. And like he never like hurts anyone or anything.
Right.
Except for like the people you're trying to kill, but they're bad guys.
Right. That's another thing. You never get to play as Big Kit. I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
That's a good point. Because you could play as Giant Clank before.
Right.
That being said, and all of the stuff that you said about Kit being said, some of my favorite moments in the game, story-wise, had to revolve around her, though.
Oh, really?
Like, I really like the segment in after you get onto the archives and it's getting attacked, and the first time she turns into the Warbot. That scene is fucking awesome.
That's a good scene, yeah.
And I somewhat like what they're doing with the whole, like, she feels like she has to get with Rivet because of Ratchet and Clank.
I do like that, yeah.
Yeah, and she feels like it's, like, really forced, and that it's, like, destiny or whatever, and she hates it. The problem is that they don't really, like, do anything interesting with that. They only bring it up, and it's, like...
It's a good concept.
Yeah.
But they just don't double down on it.
Yeah, I didn't dislike Kit, but I definitely see where you're coming from. The ending is kind of stupid, the way that, at least the way that she's implemented into it. I think it's also really funny that every time she shows up, Emperor Nefarious is like fucking terrified of her.
Yeah, that is funny.
Like they have some history, but they never like talk about it or anything.
Right.
But
I
yeah,
do think that while we're talking about characters, the two Nefariouses, I think as a whole, they're probably my favorite antagonist in any of the games.
yeah, they're the best part of this game.
Yeah, it's incredible. I really like how funny main timeline Nefarious is.
Yes.
Like there's like at the end of the game when Emperor Nefarious is like hanging onto the ledge and he's like asking actual Nefarious for help and he's like, "What do you know about winning?" And then he kicks him off and then everyone starts celebrating and he goes to jump off and he just gets crushed. That's and they don't like zoom in on it. I think it's just in the background. There's so many things in this game that happen in the background of cutscenes that is just hilarious.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Like another time I laughed really hard, not to get too far off of the character stuff, but before I forget, there's a segment in the pirate level whenever Captain Quantum takes off his helmet and like all the pirates are like, "How dare you fucking defile our captain?" And the one pirate just on the side just starts throwing up because he's so sick.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, the two Nefariouses was a great idea for an antagonist force for this for the game.
Right.
A competent Nefarious is a very cool idea, like a universe where he's actually like smart and like knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and something he does that I really like is the first time you see him, he does a trope that like not often do you see villains do it in stories, especially when they get introduced, but it's like if the first thing your villain does is just take out a bunch of civilians in front of the main character when they can't save them,
Yeah.
that's so cool because it just instantly says like, "Hey, this guy's a fucking threat. He doesn't care who anyone is."
Yeah.
Like it's great.
And they really he's really cool when he shows up because he's like just nonchalantly kind of like walking around and he has like these like psychic powers almost like
Yeah.
telepathic powers. And the fight that you just did with Nefarious, like he's a fairly decently hard boss. I mean, none of the bosses in the game are really hard, but he's one of the harder ones.
Yeah.
And he shows up and he just rocks his shit, just not doing even anything at all.
Yeah, it's great.
And I like how Emperor Nefarious kind of just keeps him around.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you're just a shitty version of me, okay."
Yeah. I like to think that here I have a little fun theory. I think that him keeping Dr. Nefarious around is the whole reason he ended up losing at the end of the story. I also, this is just my own headcanon, I like to believe that because he got so arrogant that he went to Ratchet's timeline to like fuck with his world first. I like to imagine that because that's just the dimension where Ratchet always wins and Nefarious always loses, that's the reason he lost.
Yeah.
I like to just imagine that his own hubris got the best of him and that's why he lost like that.
Yeah, that's fair. It does kind of take away from Rivet's character that I mean they all work together to beat up Nefarious at the end, but like, and she's the one that fights the final boss. But it
Right.
is they go to Ratchet's universe, and pretty much as soon as he gets there, they just kind of kill him.
Yeah.
Like it's like your universe got completely fucked by this guy, and he's in here for like 10 minutes, and he's dead.
Right, yeah. No, I think this game definitely could have benefited from being like maybe 2 planets longer or
Definitely, yeah. A lot of the Ratchet games could benefit from being a few planets longer.
something. Right.
But no, you're definitely right. Both of them together, both the Nefariouses together, are the best villains in the franchise. Drek is a really good villain in one, but he's got
Right.
like he doesn't have a lot going on other than like the evil businessman stuff.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about some other characters. Um, Ratchet and Clank themselves. How did you feel about them in this game?
I think I mean, they work pretty perfect together.
Yeah,
I mean,
and this,
coming off all the other games.
yeah, this is a point in time where they've saved the universe like fucking 7 different times.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're basically best friends at this point. So yeah, all of the conflict is like completely gone.
Yeah.
I before you got home and we started recording, I opened up Tools of Destruction just for like a few minutes and played it a little bit. And the opening cutscene of that game, like you can tell that Ratchet and Clank are good friends.
Right.
But they're more so like they're not like as good friends as they are in Rift Apart, because Ratchet's like repairing this ship thing,
Yeah.
and Clank is going through all the diagnostics, like, oh, you should check this, you should check this. And Ratchet's like, oh, that's fine. And then he tries to start it and it doesn't work, and Clank gets like really annoyed at him. I don't think Clank gets annoyed at Ratchet at all in this game. I don't think either of them get annoyed at each other at all.
They feel almost like a somewhere between like a father and son and brothers type of relationship, you know? Like especially whenever Rivet and Ratchet first meet and Ratchet notices that Clank's arm is missing, he doesn't like it's such like a subtle like worry he has when he just goes like Clank, and he's like you can just tell their relationship from that one interaction.
Yeah.
You know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm usually more on the side of like, I think that Ratchet 1 is the best game, and I think that the conflict between him and Clank is interesting. But in this game, it definitely makes sense for them to be best buds, and it works really well.
For sure.
And they also have Rivet and Kit to add to the like conflict, since they're such good friends.
Right.
So a lot like the two Nefariouses, Ratchet and Clank and Rivet and Kit balance each other really well.
Yeah. I will say something I really did like about, probably my favorite part about Kit's whole inclusion is in the whole start of the game, Ratchet has the dilemma of he's scared to actually go look for the Lombaxes because he doesn't know what it's going to be like to like meet all those people. Like he thinks he's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
And Kit like reinforces to him. He's like, "Well, I didn't want to join you, but look how much fun we're having. Look what we're doing."
Yeah.
It's like, you should, go be uncomfortable. It'll work out. I think that was probably the best writing Kit had in the game, is helping Ratchet through that dilemma.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like we said before, that Ratchet and Kit just work so much better together.
Yeah, I think nothing against Rivet, but like she says it herself in the game, she works best alone.
Yeah.
I think Ratchet just like he has that perfect charisma that just bounces off of any character he's talking to.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the side characters, I don't know, how much of the Ratchet games have you played? Like, have you played any of the future games? Like, Tools, Crack in Time, Into the Nexus?
I played a Crack in Time once, like, when it came out. I played Size Matters a few times.
Uh-huh.
Because it was, like, one of 5 games I had on my PSP.
You won't find any Size Matters references anywhere.
It's a shame that that's the game I have the most experience in. But no, I played Time. Was it a Crack in Time?
Yes.
I played a Crack in Time when it came out, and then I played like an hour of All for One.
Okay. So you probably didn't get a lot of the character references with the Skid McMarks being Phantom or whatever the fuck his name was.
Now I do know Skid McMarks.
Oh really?
Like I've played. I should mention the 2 games I just mentioned are the only ones I've beaten. I've played a decent amount of them, just not for a long time.
Okay. What about Rusty Pete and Pierre?
Those I did not get. I imagine I kind of figure they're in the Quest for Booty game.
Rusty Pete is in Tools of Destruction, and he's in Quest for Booty.
Okay.
And he might also be in like the other games, like some. I don't remember if he's in Into the Nexus or A Crack in Time. I don't think he is.
Okay.
But he's a very like minor character in Tools of Destruction. He's like basically the lackey for the pirate bad guy in that game.
Sure.
And then in Quest for Booty, he kind of becomes like an actual threat. And then by the end of that game, he's kind of just on Ratchet's side, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of ends up being on Ratchet's side at the end of Tools, but then in Quest for Booty, he like gets in over his head thinking he can bring back the pirate boss that you killed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he ends up being on Team Ratchet eventually. But he's not a very good character, to be honest. He's kind of annoying, and a lot of the characters in those future games that aren't legacy characters are kind of annoying.
Okay.
But Pierre is a fun spin on him because he's just like this like Spanish dickhead.
Yeah, I liked him in this game.
Yeah. They're pretty similar characters, other than just Pierre being like a French guy or Spanish or whatever the fuck he is.
He's French, I believe.
Yeah. And the arc that he has where he blows up his own ship and then he's gonna be executed because that's against like pirate code or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
That was silly.
I liked that whole segment. I wish that the pirate trials had a little more like meat to them, because it's like you do the one what do they call it, karaoke or whatever.
See,
so they do the shanty in the beginning, and then the second one it's just like it's an empty room with a fucking glitch, like an optional glitch thing for a gold bolt.
Yeah.
And then
the joke of that was supposed to be that they didn't feed the Grunthor.
I mean, yeah, it's a funny joke, but I don't know. I'm weird because whenever I'm playing a game and I get to a level and it's like, oh, there's trials on this level, I'm like, oh, cool. This is going to test my ability as a gamer.
Now, see, that area is actually a homage to Quest for Booty.
Okay.
Because there's a pirate area in that where you have to do a whole bunch of trials. And there's a lot more in that one, I think. There's one where you have to play like Simon Says, and like I forget what they all were.
Yeah. Okay.
And that planet itself, Ardolis, is the pirate planet in Tools of Destruction and Quest for Booty.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if you were actually on Ardolis in Quest for Booty. I assume you are, but I know for a fact it's a planet in Tools of Destruction.
Okay.
There's a lot of returning planets from Tools of Destruction. Like Zordoom Prison is actually a prison that you break into in Tools of Destruction.
Right.
And Sargasso, Rivet's homeworld, is actually... It made its debut in Tools of Destruction also.
Okay.
So that's cool, returning to places from the future series, because, like I said, I grew up with those games. What were we talking? We were talking about Pierre.
Yeah.
There's honestly not much more to say about him.
No.
But he's a funny character.
What's the robot's name? The Fixer?
Yes.
I don't feel any particular type of way about him. I feel like they resolved that pretty much exactly how I would have expected them to, with it's on par with the writing for this game.
Yeah.
I do think he has a cool design though.
There's a really weird fucking thing. I don't know what they were thinking when they did this, but there's this really weird part in the movie where at the end
you're talking about the 2016
yes,
movie,
the 2016 movie.
Okay.
Where at the end, after they beat Dr. Nefarious in that movie, Ratchet and Clank and Quark are stuck in the ship, and they're trying to get this like teleporter online, or like Clank's trying to get it like pried off of its hinges or something, and Ratchet's like, "What are you doing?" And Clank's like, "Improvising." And it's weird because he's like they never set up that at all. Like he never says improvising like before. And after he says it, Ratchet gives him this like, "Oh, you dog look." Like it was set up or something.
Sure.
And in the Fixer segment, he like tells Rivet that he's a master of improvisation or something. And then when the Fixer catches them, he's like, "I'm fixed." And the Fixer's like, "What?" And Rivet's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Improvising."
Yeah, that is weird.
It was really weird. It made me cringe almost.
Yeah.
But no, that segment was kind of cool. The grind rail segment was cool.
Yeah, that grind rail is awesome. That was best part of that level.
Yeah, I don't really consider the Fixer a character, to be honest.
That's fair.
But no, he was cool. He was cool as like a giant robot. Captain Quantum is the other side character that's like a reverse version of the Ratchet and Clank universe characters.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be Quark.
Right.
And I think that he's probably the best one out of the side characters, at least.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that what they do with him is better. He's definitely the funniest one. Because I remember I didn't chuckle very much during the game because I've already heard most of the jokes. But when they set up the whole like Captain What stuff in the game, when they're like going through the trials and stuff, and like Ratchet walks up to him, and he's like, "So, Captain What?" Yeah,
that is pretty funny.
And then when they figure out he's a human, he like freaks out. But no, he was a funny character. I mostly like him because of what Ratchet says to him about Quark, because that's a really nice that's a really nice nod to Quark as a character. Because Ratchet basically tells him like, "Hey, this guy like from our dimension, he's cool. He like fucks up all the time, and he like is a menace, but he's always there to make things right in the end." And
we can always count on him at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was a really nice thing about Quark, especially considering they couldn't get the voice actor back because I think he's like fucking dying or something.
Oh my good god.
But yeah, I don't know if you could tell or not, but when he's in the beginning segment, it doesn't sound anything like him.
It's been so long since I've actually heard Quark that I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But that part is really nice for Ratchet to like say that about his character. But that also has one of the better jokes in the game too, when Ratchet is like, he betrayed us, he fucking gave information to save his own skin, he did all this shit, and then he's a hero sometimes, and he goes, "I'm a hero?" And it's like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Just ignored everything he said.
Yeah. Yeah, Quark is just a funny character, so making a alternate reality version of him, like, you can't really fuck anything up there.
Right.
But yeah.
What was there any other side characters, really?
I don't think so. Do you want to talk about the Morts?
No, that's fine.
I think that was, like, the dumbest thing in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind them. I thought it was maybe a little weird how often they kept showing back up.
They were like Illumination characters because they kept talking about like lemonade and stuff, and it was like, this has no point other than to be like, haha, random funny.
Right.
And they did have funny like fucking Milwaukee accents.
I thought it was more like Canadian.
Yeah, I guess they are more Canadian.
But yeah, they you know, I didn't really think too much about the Mort characters.
Yeah, they're really not integral to the plot at all, other than just being the guys that are on Rivet's homeworld. They were just weirdos.
I actually like the Goons for Less more than the Morts, because like towards the end of the game, they just decide, hey, we're not going to try and kill you anymore.
Yeah.
Let's actually help you.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
Um,
I like also on the prison planet, there's a segment where there's like one of every like talking character type in the game or race in the game. And if you go up to their cell and listen to them talk, he's like, "Man, I'm gonna try and break out, man." And the other one's like, "No way, dude, your bicep can't fit through there."
yeah, I remember that.
It's like, that's pretty funny. They're just like gym bros.
I will quickly talk about Mr. Zircon and like the whole like Zircon family stuff.
Mr. Zircon.
Yeah, he's the guy that runs the bar or whatever that they keep meeting up at.
Oh yeah.
Because that's actually a really funny reversal of that character, because he's been overused in like fucking everything since Tools of Destruction.
Oh really?
Which I actually like him, but he's been overused so much that it's just so old at this point, so I'm glad that they didn't make him a weapon in this game, because he's usually a weapon.
Yeah, I did know that. I did know he was at least a weapon in one of the games.
And he's a weapon in literally all of them after Tools, I think.
Oh wow!
And he's funny because you spawn him in, and he basically plays the same role that Mr. Fungi does in this game, where he just kind of hangs out and shoots people. But he's better than Mr. Fungi, because instead of just like screaming like party shit, he's like, "Oh, you stinky, stupid fucking aliens! I'm going to kill you. You're going to die."
He's just a racist fucking psychopath.
Yeah, and he just says stuff like that all the time, and it's kind of funny.
That's awesome.
But they just overused him too much, so everyone got fucking sick of him.
Sure.
And then they introduced the whole like Zircon family later on, which I've never been a fan of. In the movie, the Mrs. Zircon character was like a fucking boss character or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird, but that movie just fucking sucks. But
maybe I'll watch it one day.
But no, it's funny in this game because they turned him into a pacifist in Rivet's Dimension, and that's why he runs the bar. That's why he's not a weapon.
That is a pretty good. That's a cool turnaround.
And they got Invader Zim to be his son.
Yeah, that is great.
And Invader Zim loves murdering people.
Anything he's in is great.
Yeah. Some of the
his voice is just made for this genre.
Yeah, and he's hamming it up so much. Like, he is just playing Invader Zim in this game. Like, even the lines are written like, dude, we're gonna write Invader Zim lines for you, okay?
Yeah, especially like anytime you get introduced to a new weapon.
Yeah.
It's like it's just him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exactly what Zim would say if he made that weapon.
Absolutely. And I loved every second of that. Normally that would annoy me if it was like anyone else.
Right.
But it works with him as the voice actor. I think Richard Horvitz is his name. But no, he's great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the characters of note.
Probably.
At least all the ones that are worth talking about.
That's what of note means?
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about the game itself now that we've talked about the characters and the story and stuff.
Right.
What did you think of the gameplay? Because you're somewhat familiar with Ratchet and Clank games. Would you say that this is like the epitome of that?
It definitely is the smoothest, just because like it's on a PS5 instead of like a PS3, because like
that definitely helps.
None of the games came out on PS4 exclusively, did it?
The remake did.
Oh yeah, remake, obviously.
But to be fair, before A Crack in Time, they all did run at 60 frames per second, except at least all the console ones did.
Right.
And that includes Tools of Destruction. For some reason, it's the only PS3 one that runs at 60 frames.
Interesting.
Because I guess they wanted to go for the like fucking cinematic stuff in A Crack in Time.
Right.
And then they just never stopped doing it.
Either way, I mean, I'm sure some of the other games have a better roster of weapons or something, but this game definitely feels the smoothest. It looks the smoothest, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and also, I think the whole portals and shit and combat, that just makes the pace so much better. Because I don't know if any of the other games have anything like that where you can just teleport to a different part of the stage.
Not during combat, no.
No, okay.
Um,
That made the combat a lot more fun to me. Where it's kind of like when you're playing Devil May Cry and you use Trickster to like just be like, oh, there's 5 enemies around me. Now I'm over here.
yeah.
It's just it's such a smoother experience in the combat. You don't feel as cramped. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot more. It's free flow is what it is,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's not in every combat encounter makes you feel a little smarter too. Like when you do get to use it, it's not just like mindless. It's not like spam rolling in Dark Souls or something. You know.
Yeah, a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games can be summed up to target, strafe, jump, and shoot.
Right.
And to be fair, you're doing a lot of that in this game for the most part.
For sure.
But the teleporting stuff does add another bell to the bells and whistles.
Yeah, of course.
And this game does have a very solid weapon lineup. I think that all the games have their, like, good weapons and bad weapons. I think that this game probably has the least bad weapons out of any of the games. I don't think it's the best roster overall, because I don't think it's the biggest one, but there's definitely not very many bad weapons in this game, which makes it good.
There's only 2 weapons in this game that I did not use very much at all.
And what were those?
They were the Void Repulsor, because I found that I didn't like it because you like have to hold the shield. You don't have to hold the shield out for a second, but it basically forces you to take a pause and like what you're doing for a second.
Yeah. I almost only use that as a shotgun for smaller enemies because
right
the shield portion of it does suck because it drains so fast.
Right.
What was the other one?
I thought you were gonna say more. I didn't use the Headhunter because other than the Rhino, that was the last weapon I got.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did use it, I enjoyed it though.
What did you think of the Rhino?
The Rhino is my second favorite weapon in the game.
It's really cool. Did you see any of the Easter eggs that fall out of it?
I never really used the Rhino outside of combat, so like I never really had time to look at what it was. But I think I caught some things.
I can tell you almost all the things that fall out of it.
Go ahead and list off a few, and I'll tell you if it sounds like I saw it.
The ones of note are, I think they're pretty rare. The Sly Cooper van can fall out.
I don't think I saw that.
There's a robot tiger thing or something, whatever, from Horizon.
I definitely did not see that.
Sly Cooper himself drops out.
I think I saw that because I think at one point I saw like a character fall.
Okay. There is also like some weird, like, he looks like a fucking pop figure. I don't know what he's from, but there's one of those that falls out of it.
I saw that. I definitely saw that.
Okay. And then Jack and Daxter are also a character model in it.
That's cool.
And they actually made brand new character models for Sly and Jack and Daxter. Or maybe not for Sly, but they definitely did for Jack and Daxter.
Right. I imagine they would have had to.
Yeah. And they look fucking great.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's like a smaller ones, like there's like a temple artifact thing from Uncharted that falls out, and
I saw that.
There might be.
I couldn't imagine. I didn't even think of Uncharted when I saw it, but I definitely saw like an artifact thing.
There might also be one of those for God of War. I'm not 100% sure, but I assume that there is.
That's cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of PlayStation multiverse stuff in this game.
That makes sense.
And I went through and I re-listened to all of the audio files too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't think they really talk about anything that isn't summonable, except I think they mentioned Little Big Planet at some point, and I don't think there's anything that falls out that's from Little Big Planet. I might be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, they mostly just talk. Oh, I went to this place, and there was this guy. He looked like a Lombax, but he was like a thief, and he had a mask and a cane and stuff. And he talks about Jack and Daxter. Like, there's just this guy like fucking doing insane spins, and there's this guy on his shoulder like telling him shit.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I really liked all the references and stuff. They were cool. And it's cool that they made the Rhino a Dimensionator.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
It's a very good final weapon for the game, even though it's not technically the final weapon if you don't do New Game Plus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's whenever I didn't look it up yet because I just didn't look anything up yet, but I had bought the last weapon and I did not get the trophy for getting all the weapons. And I was like, I hope my game's not bugged.
Yeah.
And then I started the New Game Plus, and I got to the vendor, and I realized there were more.
Yeah, there's only two.
Yeah, well, they have all the like upgraded versions of weapons.
Yeah,
also.
I don't think that those count, but
they don't. But I got really stressed out whenever I started it because I was like, I was sitting there doing the math, and I'm like, this is like 300,000 bolts to buy all these.
My God.
But the two that you need to buy to get the trophy are like 50 bolts each, so it's like there's no way you can't get them.
And the Pixelizer is actually a pre-order bonus also, so I already had that.
Okay. I did fuck around and use them for a little bit. Because I only use them for like 5 minutes, I'm not gonna put them on my list in order of how I like the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But
you want to know the up and up about them?
Sure.
The Pixelizer is cringe. The Bouncer is based.
I kind of picked up on that. I used the Pixelizer for a second. I know I was in New Game Plus, so I was in like the challenge mode or whatever. Imagine enemies have more health. But I shot one of the basic enemies like actually like 7 times before he died, I think.
Yeah.
Like point blank. And I was like, this is like... It's cool that they are able to do that and not make it look too weird in-game.
Yeah.
I like when games can mesh like 2 styles of art like that. And not have it just look terrible. But the Bouncer... I used it like once and I just... Explosion.
See,
I was like...
Yeah,
that's cool.
Here's some history about the Pixelizer and the Bouncer. The Pixelizer is from the remake game.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why they put it in this one, because it's really just like the worst shotgun in the game. The Bouncer is awesome. The Bouncer was in Ratchet and Clank 2. And it was like the busted weapon in that game. Like, it was the weapon that you wanted, like, in-game. Like, if you were like a speedrunner or something and you were in New Game Plus, the Bouncer was the weapon you wanted.
I getcha.
Yeah, and the Bouncer's really cool.
That is cool.
Let's talk about weapons.
Yeah, let's talk weapons.
I'm gonna have my Pyrocitor rant now.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
Part of the reason that I don't mind the Void Shield or whatever the fuck it's called, the one that you were talking, the Void Repulsor or whatever, is because it kind of serves the same role that the Pyrocitor serves, but it's like nowhere near as good.
Sure.
Because, do you know what the Pyrocitor is?
No, I guess not. I thought it was like a flamethrower.
It is the flamethrower.
Okay.
So the reason that I say that the shield is like the flamethrower is because it is very useful for swarms of little enemies coming towards you.
Okay, I get you.
But the thing is, the Pyrocitor is like such bliss to use because like you hold down the button and you walk in a circle and all of the small enemies that were around you are now dead.
Right.
Every Ratchet and Clank game should have a fucking Pyrocitor. I don't think it's called the Pyrocitor in all the games, but I think all the games have a flamethrower of some sort in them.
Sure.
Or at least something like similar enough to a flamethrower that it serves the same purpose.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't. It's not that big of a deal, but it does take away from the roster of weapons in this game for me. Just that there's not a flamethrower in it.
Right.
Because it's essential to Ratchet's arsenal to have a weapon that's just really fucking good for taking out swarms of little enemies. And plus, it's just so satisfying because you're holding it down and it's going through your fuel. And, like, instead of, like, hitting all the the little enemies in, like, one big move like the shield does, you're, like, it's hitting them individually and they're all, like, getting killed at different times and the bolts are coming out at different times. It's just really sad. There's something about it that's satisfying.
Right.
And I miss it.
I get that. That makes sense.
But I think that's the only, like, main exclusion of a weapon from the series in this game. This game pretty much has everything else that you'd come to expect in a Ratchet game.
Sure.
I don't think that some of the new weapons aren't as good as the ones that filled that role in the other games. Yeah. But it's still, overall, this game has a really solid roster.
Yeah, I used pretty well all of them except for the two I said.
Yeah.
Like a pretty decent margin.
Yeah, they're all very useful in their own way for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that the burst pistol is the best starting weapon in any of the games, to be honest.
Sure.
Because in classic Ratchet and Clank, you start with the bomb glove, which it's a good starting weapon, but it's a grenade.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a starting weapon.
Yeah.
That's like if you started a game of Call of Duty, you just had the grenades, you didn't have the pistol.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. Like if it gets the job done, it just doesn't feel right.
Ratchet 2, I think, is when you start with a pistol. And to be fair, the pistol in that game is pretty cool.
Sure.
And then in Tools of Destruction, you get introduced to the Combustor. And then the Combustor is the starting weapon in every fucking game after Tools of Destruction. And I mean, I liked the Combustor when it was in Tools of Destruction, but it's like, why is this the starting weapon in all of the fucking games?
Right.
I think in Remake you start with the bomb glove again, but you get the Combustor pretty soon after you get the bomb glove.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's the burst pistol is just really fun to use. Because it's useful in pretty much any situation. Like, if you have to hit someone from far away, just do a half pull. It's very accurate, just fires slow.
Yeah.
But then when you pull it all the way, it's just really fast. It does a lot of damage. When you upgrade it to the blast pistol, it has the 3 holes on it, so it shoots 3 shots at a time when you hold it down all the way.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the Combustor did also when you leveled it up. In those games, it had 3... like a triple shot kind of effect.
Okay.
But the thing about that is that you couldn't shoot it. You could only do it that way after you upgraded the Combustor to that level in those games. You couldn't shoot it singly anymore.
I get you.
But you can still do that with the blast pistol in this by just doing a half pull.
Right.
And I think that alone makes it the best like pistol weapon in any of these games.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I do like the pistol.
Yeah. It's just it's blunt simplicity, but it's so satisfying to use.
Yeah, I have it fairly low on my my list of weapons, but that says more about the rest of the weapons than the pistol, though.
Yeah, that's fair. What was your favorite weapon?
I already told you the Rhino was my second favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just shot in the dark guess what my favorite is? I don't think you can.
It's not the Ricochet, is it?
No, the Ricochet is my second least favorite.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I remember you were saying like, "Oh, why do you hate this so much?" Like,
now, I'll say this, not to spoil my list at all, but when I asked you why you don't like the Ricochet, it's before I got the Buzzblades, and the Buzzblades are just a quicker
Oh yeah,
version of Ricochet.
the buzz
That being
blades are also a returning weapon from Tools of Destruction that are in almost every game.
Yeah, I kind of remember seeing them at another point, but I do think the Ricochet might be like if you optimize it and you're pressing the button at the right time, it might be like the fastest like single enemy damage in the game.
Maybe,
Other than like Rhino and like the fucking beam and shit.
it's just not what I want in a Ratchet game, though.
No,
It's like
that's
stopping
fair.
to yeah.
That's fair. I'm just saying it's a cool thing.
It's not like a bad weapon or like I don't think any of the weapons are like outright bad.
No, I don't either.
But no, what's your favorite weapon?
It's the Apocalypse Glove.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I fucking love just spawning like 10 of those guys.
Hey.
And just having them wreak hell
You know
on everyone.
what? You know what game that one's from?
What?
The first one.
There you go. The first game's goated.
Yeah, it's one of the better weapons in the first game too. The Doom Glove and the Apocalypse Glove are fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's just one of my favorite things to do in this game was just I think honestly Apocalypse Glove was other than the pistol was the fastest weapon I got to level 5.
Yeah, it's
I enjoyed it a lot. Like
Yeah,
every time there was a big wave of enemies, I'd just shoot that once or twice at the ground and then just be like, okay, now I can just do literally whatever I want because anytime an enemy gets close to me, these guys are gonna eat their ass.
yeah. You know those like Juggernaut guys that you have to fight like fucking 20 times. That we'll get into that later when we talk about enemies.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot to say about the enemies in this game.
Okay.
But I threw down like 4 of those for one of those guys, and it fucked him so bad.
Oh yeah, dude, it melts.
Yeah. Like once you get enough of them going, like it's just the damage doesn't stop. Like it just keeps going.
No, it really doesn't.
I mean, and to be fair, it would be pretty hard to like kill one of those guys with just those because you would run out of ammo eventually,
Right.
and they would die. But it's really good for just having like background damage.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think this game does really well as a whole
Yeah,
with like background abilities
yeah,
and shit.
and that's something that Ratchet and Clank as a series after like Tools of Destruction has excelled at is just like having crazy like background weapons going on while you're shooting like your actual ones that you have to like aim and stuff.
Right, yeah. There's always something going on the screen.
Yeah. And that's why Ratchet and Clank is such a good third-person shooters because it has such like clever weapon design.
Right.
You want to know my favorite weapon?
What is it?
It was the Black Hole Storm, I think it's called, the Gatling gun.
Yeah, the Black Hole Storm.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah, I love that one. It has one of the lamer like half pull trigger abilities, which a lot of the guns don't even have half pull trigger abilities. But
Right.
it's still cool being able to get it going before you get close enough to someone to want to use it, and then just pull it down all the way and go to town.
Right.
The reason I like it so much is I don't think that Ratchet and Clank games have ever done a Gatling gun before,
Oh, really?
which is surprising. You would think that they would have at this point.
That is surprising.
They've definitely done like assault rifle-esque weapons that have big magazines like that, but it's never felt like you're using a Gatling gun.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Like it's always felt more like you're using like a fucking heavy assault rifle, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's no getting it started and then like another thing is the haptic feedback. Like when you feel the trigger like going up and down while you're shooting at people, it feels really good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's I mean, I think the burst pistol probably is my favorite weapon in the game, but I for originality's sake, I will say that the Black Hole Storm was my favorite one.
Cool.
Just because the burst pistol's the starting weapon.
Yeah, I think it being the starting weapon definitely made me use it less because I got it to level 5 extremely fast.
Oh yeah, the
So
weapon leveling in this game is very fast.
yeah, so because of that and because I wanted to experience as much as I could, I stopped using the pistol pretty early so I could level up other weapons.
Yeah.
Like I still used it when it felt like it was the right weapon to use, like against like ranged enemies or something. But a lot of the time, in place of it, I would either use like the Doom Blades or the Lightning Strike or something like that.
Yeah, I almost wish that getting your weapons up to level 10 wasn't a New Game Plus thing. Because it definitely feels like it unincentivizes you to use weapons that you've already maxed out. And a lot of the games do that too. That's a flaw in like the entire series, except for
Right,
one,
that
because
makes
you
sense.
can't upgrade guns in the first game.
Yeah, okay.
I guess you can get golden weapons in that game, but you have to have like gold bolts and stuff and be a New Game Plus and all that shit.
Yeah,
It's not really the same thing.
sure.
The thing about the other games, though, is that except for like Ratchet and Clank 2, the upgrade cap has always been pretty big. I think A Crack in Time maybe also had a smaller one, and probably Into the Nexus because that game was fucking really short.
Yeah.
But I think Tools of Destruction, I want to say that they went up to 10, and then in New Game Plus they went up to 15 or 20 or something.
Okay.
And I mean, for this game, the level cap at 5 works because it's so short. But
Sure.
your weapons do tend to level up pretty quickly. Like by the time I beat the game, I didn't even do hardly any of the side stuff. I had most of my weapons at level 5.
Yeah. I think, let me check real quick. The Blast Pistol was level 5, Doom Blade's level 5. Black Hole Storm, I almost had to level 4. Peacemaker level 5, Drill Hound level 4, Lightning Strike level 5, Cold Snap almost level 4.
The Lightning Strike is
Rhino-
also really cool.
Yeah, Lightning Strike is my third favorite weapon. I used it a lot. See, Lightning Strike was the weapon I used where you would have been using the shield because when there was a bunch of small enemies,
Really?
I just looked left and right for like 1 second, and they're literally all taking damage now. And they're all stunned.
That's fair. See, I ended up using it in place of the pistol later on because it kind of served the same purpose, but it also
Right.
had like stun.
That's what I did if there were enemies around each other, and if it was a single enemy off in the distance, I would use the Doom Blades instead.
See, the thing about the single enemies though is that like even for bosses, like you can electrify bosses and stun them for like a solid like 3 or 4 seconds.
I know, but because I used it when smaller enemies were real close, I like to save the ammo for when that happened.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas with the boss fights, I used a lot of the time I would use like the sprinkler, which is I think other than the Apocalypse Glove is my favorite passive weapon.
It's a really good passive weapon, yeah.
It's really good.
That's one that it wasn't called the Tapiary Sprinkler or whatever in Tools of Destruction, but that's one that originated in Tools of Destruction.
I get you.
But no, very, very solid weapon roster.
Oh, for sure.
Since you already said your like few least favorite ones, I'll say a few of mine. The drill gun, like the drill dog thing.
Yeah.
Really cool idea. It looks really cool. It looks like a classic Ratchet and Clank gun. But it fucking sucks. Like it's just a worse version of the Warmonger.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I mean I remember liking it a lot when I played through the game the first time, but it was just like fucking useless.
Right.
That one is probably my least favorite weapon in the game, which is sad because it's definitely one of the more interesting ones. But
Yeah, I have that as my fifth least favorite weapon, just because like I didn't use it very much. I used that whenever my Peacemaker ran out of ammo.
yeah,
Otherwise, I just didn't use it.
yeah, it's completely fair.
I do like how it like barks and shit though. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, like I said, the design is like awesome, and like all that stuff. Like it's
Right.
just the actual like using it. It just isn't really that good.
Right.
The Bombardier would be really bad if it wasn't a if it wasn't just a throw and forget weapon. It would be really bad because it does like fucking hardly any damage at all.
I actually have that as my fourth least favorite.
Yeah, no, it's
So that one just felt like the least interesting version of "Don't worry about it."
definitely, yeah. Let me think. The Ricochet. I already told you how much I don't like the Ricochet. I think the Ricochet just ruins the pacing of fights, I think.
For a similar reason the shield does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, unlike the shield, when you shoot a Ricochet, you're locked on to whatever enemy it's on for like
Right.
6 straight hits.
Right.
And I mean, you can switch to a different weapon if you want, but like, I think that just makes that weapon like just not that good compared to like
Well,
just using
one-
something else to deal damage.
while I'm in this situation, let me ask you this. Did you encounter a shit ton of fucking bugs like I did?
I definitely encountered a few. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but yeah, there definitely were a few.
This is the, I want to say, third or fourth time I've gotten stuck in something. Just like, a lot of the times when I get stuck, it's because I jump and then do a dash and then a slam attack.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you're too close to a wall, you just slide into something.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah, it's very annoying. But that happened a lot to me, or not a lot. I mean, it happened 3 or 4 times. I'd consider that a lot because it's never supposed to happen.
I forgot about the dash. That's a new feature in this game is the dash.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Another glitch I have encountered a lot, specifically with the shield actually, is that I will equip it and then I'll start sprinting or I'll dodge or I'll use the melee and it will automatically switch to a different weapon.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know what causes it. It only happens after I've used the here, it actually just happened. I'm going to clip that real quick.
Okay.
But just so I can send it to you later. But no, it's really weird because it only works like if I use it once or twice and then put it away. And like I said, I have to sprint so that the gun's model is actually gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I like dodge or do anything else, it'll just eventually randomly. The next time I try to aim, it'll switch to whatever weapon I had previously. It's very strange.
Now that I think about it, I had a really weird glitch that happened multiple times with the black hole storm, where I would get it going and it would start shooting, and the bullets would just kind of like stop in front of it.
Yeah.
I had to unequip it and re-equip it to get that to stop.
It's very there's like just a very small selection of like weird glitches that happen in this game.
And none of them ever really like pissed me off. I was just like, oh shit, hold on.
Right.
But it is still, this game's been out for a while, so it's weird they haven't ironed out some of that stuff. I think Ratchet and Clank games are pretty glitchy, though, for the most part. So it might just be an Insomniac thing. Not saying that they're a bad developer, but just that their games tend to have a few kinks in them that don't always get ironed out.
Right. I also, okay, this is starting to frustrate me a little bit. I just encountered another glitch where obviously the last trophy I have left to do is to get the 10 kills by repelling an enemy shot back at them with the shield.
Oh,
the upgraded shield.
Yeah.
And I just encountered another glitch where I literally have the weapon like right in their fucking... I'm a foot away from them. They shoot me, and then I shoot the shield at them, and they just don't take damage at all.
Huh.
Oh my god.
Don't get so close.
How? But then I don't hit them.
You idiot! It's your fault.
It's my fault. It's all my fault. No, this game has a few bugs. None of them in the normal playthrough. None of them really irked me. This trophy is starting to frustrate me a little bit because I don't know why I'm not getting it.
I think that one annoyed me too. I think that was probably the last one I got.
It's definitely the last one I got. But what else were we talking about before I went on my glitch tangent?
Just weapons in general.
Oh yeah, weapons. Yeah, there's a lot of weapons. I mean, like I said, I used pretty well all of them. I really like the Shatter Blast. Like I said, I use that for bosses a lot.
Yes, the grenade weapon in this game, very good.
Yeah, I thought that one was great. What else is there? I think the beam weapon's really cool, especially the upgrade.
Oh,
where
the
if you hit
Negatron
more
Collider.
yeah, especially when you hit more enemies, it does more damage. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah, that one's fucking awesome.
What else is there?
The cool thing about this game's roster is that, like, most of these weapons are new. And usually in these Ratchet and Clank games,
there's
like,
a lot of legacy weapons.
Yeah, at least half of them are usually legacy weapons, if not more.
Right.
And there's only, like, I want to say there's, like, at most, like, 8 in this one. Like, 7 or 8.
Oh, really?
And I think there's, like, 25 to 30 weapons, I want to say. Maybe there's less than that. That might be overshooting it.
In this game?
Yeah.
Let me see. I can count them real quick. So there is 18 in the base game, and then there's the 2 New Game Plus weapons, and then every weapon has the Omega version.
Okay, so there's 20.
Yeah, there's 20.
So I guess let me think. So there's the Doom Glove, there's the Bouncer, the Warmonger Pixelizer. Okay, it might be on a similar level to the other games, but usually the other games are like fucking 70% legacy weapons.
Right.
At least like the recent ones, like Into the Nexus, I remember having a lot of legacy weapons in it.
Yeah.
And a Crack in Time. Basically anything after Tools of Destruction usually has a shit ton of legacy weapons.
Okay, that makes sense.
And to be fair, while a lot of the weapons are technically original, like the Shatter Blast and stuff, like they're pretty much just serving the exact same purpose as like the Bomb Glove and like you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But yeah, the overall weapon roster very good. It's a very good weapon roster.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you wanna talk about the enemies and bosses in this game?
Yeah, we can talk about the enemies and the bosses in this game.
This is one of the main reasons this game dropped for me in terms of my rating.
Really?
They reuse so many fucking enemies and bosses in this game. Like,
yeah, there's not a lot of variety.
Yeah, 90%, no joke, 90% of the bosses you fight in this game are that fucking, like, big brute robot guy.
Yeah, there's that. There's Gunther.
Yeah.
And then there's the undead variant of Gunther.
Which, that's basically the same thing.
Right, I know, I'm just...
Yeah.
To say how little there is.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the times the like robot boss fight, the natural progression of that instead of having a cooler fight is to just throw another one in there.
Yeah, especially late in the game.
I think at the final encounter you have with any of them, there's like 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's like a shit ton of like NPCs shooting at them too.
Right. Yeah. The nefarious fights are really cool though.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like those.
All of the story bosses are cool for the most part.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what other bosses there are.
Like there's the I guess it's technically a nefarious fight, but at the very beginning of the game, the ship that you fight, that fight is cool.
Hey, I just got the platinum.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've completely given up on not saying
I know. I noticed that. Like the first 10 minutes of this episode, I was just like really like mentally draining myself, like trying to bite my tongue. But
It's so hard.
between the two of us, we got it covered because I constantly say and you say
Yeah.
So we're unstoppable in the fact of not knowing what to say.
But yeah, a lot of the like I said, all the story bosses are cool. It's mostly just the repeat mini bosses that I don't like.
That's the majority of the bosses.
Yes, yeah, it's no joke. 80% of the bosses in this game.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't piss me off as much if it wasn't just the same 3 recycled fights over and over. Because there's the nefarious robot bruiser, there's the robot pirate bruiser.
Yeah.
And he himself is a remake of a fight that you do in like Tools of Destruction. Like,
oh, really?
Like completely, like just like taken from that game is the fight.
Oh, wow.
And the Gunthors are taken from Tools of Destruction also. And they already were like a grinding fight in that game because you got Leviathan souls from killing them, which you traded to some dickhead to get bolts.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're taking from the bottom of the barrel with that stuff. And like I said, I love this game. This is my least favorite part of the game is the bosses and enemies and stuff. Because let's talk about the enemies themselves, the standard enemies.
Sure.
The nefarious robots are very cool. Most of them are unique. Other than that, I think all of the enemies in this game are reused from other games.
Really?
Which somewhat is cool, because it's like a dimensional thing where like, oh, it's drawing in all these forces from like this other shit that already happened and stuff. Like the robot pirates, those guys were already in Tools of Destruction and Quest for Booty.
Right.
And those ones make sense because they're somewhat integral to the plot. The Goons for Less guys, they were into the Nexus. And going back further than that, when they were Thugs for Less, they were in Ratchet Clank 2.
Okay.
Those guys are pretty much ripped straight out of those games. And I like those guys also. They work really well in this game. Then you get to the lazy ones, like the amoeboids, the little green guys that multiply when you kill them.
Those are my favorite guys to shoot with the what's it called? The lightning strike.
But here's the thing, Donovan, is that those enemies are ripped from the remake, which was ripped from the original game.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I want to say that the character models themselves were, like, actually just taken from Remake and put into this game. Like, there's
that makes sense.
There's no difference whatsoever in between. And the sand sharks from Remake are in this one.
Oh, really?
And those were also from the original game. And this time you don't have a pyrocitor to kill them with. And there was a few other ones, like the killer fish are taken straight out of Remake also.
Yeah.
I
see now, not having played any of those games in forever, it didn't bother me.
Yeah,
because I didn't notice.
It didn't really bother me either until like I was really thinking about it, and being a fan of the series, it's stuff that I recognize, like, oh, it's these enemies from this game, and oh, that's funny that you're bringing back these enemies that were just in the last game that came out on the newest console generation before the PS5.
Right.
Which, to be fair, A Crack in Time did a lot of that too. Took a lot of enemies from Tools of Destruction and reused them.
Oh, really?
But I won't say that this game is lazy with its enemy stuff. The bosses are a little bit unforgivable with how many times you fight those guys. And it's just the same fight with no differences. That's a little bit, like, lazy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But I don't mind the enemies as much because while it is blatant that they just took this out of the other games and like, oh, there's not really any reason these guys are here, but like the Gunthors make sense on Sargasso because that's the planet they're on in Tools of Destruction. Those make sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense why the amoeboids should be running around the fucking underwater facility.
Yeah, that did seem a little weird.
Yeah. Because I think literally what happens is Ratchet's like, oh, it's a portal. Oh, there's amoeboids coming out of it. No.
Yeah, no, that's actually what happens. Yeah. That's where I started playing today. I think was that mission.
But yeah, it's a little bit lazy.
Yeah,
but
no. That being
I can see
I
why...
do think it's I do think it's a nice variety of enemies, though.
Yeah, it is. I don't think that it had as much enemy variety as like Remake did, though, because there's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's just a lot of different, like... Because Remake had sand sharks amoeboids, but then like they don't really utilize any of the enemies after those areas. Like there's none of like the robot like tree cutter guys from the original game. And like the flying ones that are on Novalis, and like you probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
But no, there's a lot of Ratchet and Clank is usually very good with enemy variety, and it's something that I noticed was severely lacking in this game.
Sure.
And this game doesn't even really have the excuse that it's short, because like all of them after Tools of Destruction are short. So I don't know.
It's a shame.
It's like I said, I really like this game. It's still pretty, like, it's at a pretty decent level on my top 100, but it's a complaint that I have about the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a pretty valid one, too.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
I am looking forward to whatever they do next, because hopefully they'll be like, oh, we can reuse some of these enemies, and then we can just do, for the most part, new shit.
I was going to ask you, first of all, how much longer do you think it'll be before they make a new one?
I think
there were like 5 years in between rebooting this one.
Yeah. PS3 era, they were like shitting those out left and right. I think that Ratchet and Clank as a property has kind of like dwindled since then, especially because the movie kind of fucking killed any like interest in the property people could have.
This game definitely picked it back up.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It got nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah. They're making another one.
For sure.
Because they in the Insomniac leaks, I think that I want to say it's like 2027 is when they plan to release the next one.
That makes sense.
Because they're working on Wolverine right now, and possible Spider-Man DLC and stuff.
I forgot they're the same people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But no, there's definitely another one coming, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so my follow-up question to that then is, what do you think it would be? Do you think it'd be like a Lombax kind of story? Like where they go to the Lombax planet or dimension? Depending
on... Here's my theory, my game theory.
Okay.
I think that the next Ratchet and Clank... It's coming out in 2027 or whatever. It's probably going to be a new PlayStation console around that time. And they're already doing like the dimensional shit with all the references to the other games and stuff. I would not be surprised if they did some sort of like we're jumping through all these different PlayStation dimensions thing, and I would be all for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because they already set it up so much in this one. And even like the lore dumps with the orbs and stuff, like the guys just talking about mapping all these dimensions from other properties. I definitely would not mind a Ratchet and Clank and like Sly Cooper and Jak and Daxter team up done right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'd be cool.
That might be too cool to happen though. So
yeah.
If that doesn't happen and it's not like a launch title for the PS5 or the PS6, it probably will just be a run of the mill like we found the Lombaxes. Here's a new threat thing going on story. Right. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Do you think in the next game if it does take place at least partially on the Lombax dimension, do you think Ratchet will get like a Super Saiyan equivalent, like a supersonic type deal?
No, I think that would be really fucking stupid.
That's why I asked if they would. Really stupid, and I would love it.
I don't.
Uh,
I don't see how that would like work at all.
no, it literally wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny.
I'm kind of done with the whole like Lombax shit at this point, to be honest, because they've been doing it like in the original trilogy. They never say anything about how Ratchet is like the last of this like fucking weird species. Like he runs into other Lombaxes in those games.
Yeah.
And in the future series, then they do the whole like, oh, you're Space Jesus, you Clank is Space Jesus too. They're both Space Jesus, and Clank is Time Lord, and you're the fucking last of the fucking god people that created the dimension splitting device, and blah blah blah. Right. I think that stuff is kind of run its course, and I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's one of those things where it's such an ass pull, because it's like, how do we make the games more important than the last one?
Yeah.
And when you make that much of a jump, like from him being a fucking military robot thing, and Ratchet just being kind of a shithead.
Yeah.
And then now it's like
you said, they're both the most important people in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's like, what do we do now? You know, like how do we raise the stakes again?
Yeah, and I don't really mind the Ratchet stuff. I'm glad that nobody ever talks about the Clank stuff though, because him being a secret Time Lord is like the dumbest fucking thing ever.
That is really dumb.
Because like it kind of ruins his entire fucking story in the first game that he's just a defective warbot, and that the computer spit him out so that he could rebel against Drek.
Right.
Because they completely kill the whole, like, oh, the computer was my mother, like, thing, where he's like, I'll make you proud, Mom, stuff at the tail end of the first game. Because, like, oh, no, actually, I'm a silly Time Lord guy, and I made you. You're a Time Lord, and you're going to control the time.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
I'm glad that nobody talks about that. I'm glad that the furthest they go with that is just him running around and like solving anomalies with like dimensional stuff. Because that's pretty much what he did in Into the Nexus. Was he just kind of went into rifts and fixed them.
Sure. Now, while we're on the topic of that, what did you think of the Clank puzzles in this game?
They were pretty good. I don't think that they were...
I liked them a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that they were as good as the time puzzles in A Crack in Time.
No, I remember those. Those were like my favorite part of that game.
Yeah, those were awesome. They were like portal puzzles in like the game that were like completely separate from the Ratchet stuff.
Right.
The puzzles in that game are like the only thing saving that whole Time Lord bullshit stuff.
Right.
In this one, I liked them. They were fun. They were pretty. They were never like. They never really made me think too hard, but they were still engaging.
Yeah, they definitely, like, they never took more than a few minutes, but there were, especially the last set of them, I had to, like, I had to, like, lean forward in my chair and really ponder.
Yeah.
Like, but it never took more than, like, a few minutes.
The thing that I like the most about it is that they kind of take the time-based puzzles from A Crack in Time and kind of put a different spin on it, where like you're trying to lead this horde of Clanks to this end of the puzzle and get them there in one piece so they can open the gate.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Whereas in A Crack in Time, it's like you're walking through the puzzle with separate, different like timeline versions of yourself, and you're activating something with one version of yourself so that you can then go on another thing with another version of yourself. Yeah,
that Crack in Time definitely had a lot more, like, thinking going into it.
The thing that's cool about this one is it kind of is like an incestual baby of the puzzles from A Crack in Time, and then the puzzles from the classic games where you have like these little throwable objects that are like they spawn robots. And at least in Remake, that's how it worked, is that you picked them up and you threw them. I think in the original, you just kind of like summoned them and like they walked around with you.
Sure.
But the point of it is that you get items that you use, and then you use that to, like, in this game specifically, you use the items to fuck with the environment so that you can get the guys going. Whereas in the other games, you are basically controlling the guys yourself and, like, telling them where to go. In this one, you're more so, like, just changing the arena so that they can get to the other end because you're not controlling them.
Yeah,
I thought that was a fun spin on it.
Yeah. While we're on the side stuff, what did you think of the glitch missions?
They were surprisingly good.
Yeah, I enjoyed them. They were nice. Obviously, it's still a shooter.
Yeah.
But it was a nice change of pace from, like, constantly dodging and, like, jumping and shit. And, like, you're literally just mowing down enemies.
I thought it was really interesting how they made Glitch her own character, even though she, like, never gets to interact with any of the other characters. Like, she never gets to talk to them or anything.
Yeah, I also like, there's I can't remember if it's in the second to last one or the very last one, but Glitch has a line where she's like, man, Ratchet just thinks these are normal fucking computers.
Yeah,
This is like a mega virus combining from all the dimensions.
Yeah.
This sucks.
No, that stuff was fun.
Yeah, I like it.
Glitch was like she was like a forgettable, like, whatever character, but she was fun.
Yeah,
she was upbeat and she was a spider.
Yeah, it was a nice break from normal gameplay, similar to the Clank puzzles.
Yeah, as far as that stuff goes, the puzzles were... The puzzles could be a little bit annoying in some of the other games. Like, the glitch puzzles in other games would be usually, like, the Trespasser puzzles, which were like the... I don't know if you've ever played any of the ones that had puzzles like that.
I don't remember.
But it's basically you have, like, this, like, row of, like... It's like the R2-D2, like, puzzle thing. Like... You know how when R2-D2 sticks his fucking knob in things and, like, turns it? Like, he turns it and, like, they all interlock into each other and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The Trespasser puzzles are kind of like that, except you're, like, trying to turn a bunch of, like, lasers into, like... There's, like, mirrors in front of them and you have to move them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. The other games have puzzles like that for when you're, like, hacking stuff. So it was and usually that stuff is a lot more optional than some of the glitch stuff is, and there's usually a lot more of it, so that's why it's so short.
The thing about the glitch stuff, too, I don't know if you knew this, but you can skip those.
Really?
Yeah, if you pause it, you can just skip them.
Oh, that's wild. Actually, you know what? You could skip the Trespasser puzzles in Remake, so that doesn't surprise me.
You can also skip the puzzles in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's just something Insomniac does.
It's just something cool. That video games are made for fucking idiots now.
Something, while we're on the topic of what Insomniac does to basically make the game better in a personal experience... something I was going through the settings when I first booted up the game, and this is the only game I've literally ever seen do this. I wish every game that was ever made had something like this. There is something in the settings called speedrunning settings, where it just makes the game easier to speedrun.
Really?
Where, so it's only 3 options, so it's very, it doesn't really change that much, but it's just cool that they have it. Like, for instance, in the speedrunning settings, you can choose to not pause the game when you go to your weapon wheel.
Oh.
You can choose to not slow down the combat whenever you level up. Yeah. So, like, you can do that. You can not have the slow-mo whenever you level something up. You can not have weapon info pop up whenever you level it up. Just, like, it's just really... It's small features, but it's just cool that they... thought about people wanting to play it at a faster rate like that.
That is really cool, because in the original trilogy of game, maybe in 3 you could, and maybe in 2 I don't remember, but in 1 the game did not pause when you opened your weapon wheel.
Yeah.
So that is cool. And the
I
Ratchet
wish,
the Ratchet games are very popular speedrunning games too. So it's good that they
I
thought about
imagine.
that.
But it's just cool. I wish more games had that.
Yeah.
Just like even just a few little things like that, like don't pause during like not slow mowing during a weapon level up or something. Like that's just cool.
Yeah,
You know?
that can also just be like quality of life stuff. It doesn't even have to be speedrunning stuff too.
Right, but the fact that they're that conscious of the community, that's really cool.
Yeah. Insomniac is a really good developer.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty much PlayStation's front lines at this point.
Yes, especially after the Spider-Man games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1 came out after the Ratchet and Clank reboot, right?
Yes.
So Insomniac almost made 3 Spider-Man games before they made a second Ratchet and Clank game in the PS4 and 5 era. That's crazy.
Wait a minute. Oh, you said almost.
Yeah, almost.
Okay.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 definitely. Didn't Miles Morales also come out after Rift Apart?
No, no. I think
was it-
Miles Morales was a launch title on PS5.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I don't consider
no,
that
it was,
like
it was close.
yeah. I don't consider that like a full-fledged game though. That game's too fucking short.
No, the game sucks.
I don't think it sucks, but it's definitely like too short.
That game isn't good.
Fair enough. One thing that I want to talk about. So this game looks really fucking good.
Right, absolutely.
In my opinion, I think that it's the best looking game ever made still to this day. Just because of how, like, it looks as good as Disney's Pixar movies, and, like, you can't play those.
Right.
So it's very impressive. One thing that I noticed while I was playing, though, Ellie, you played on performance mode, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Did you notice that Ratchet's fur kind of looked weird when it was wet?
I did not notice. I wasn't
Okay.
really paying attention.
That was the only thing that stuck out to me. Like, okay, this probably will look dated in like a few years, is what I was thinking.
One thing I did notice, I know you didn't really use the armor at all. I switched it up every now and then. But I did notice that they, like every other game that's ever been made, they give you choices for armor. And then when you wear that armor in cutscenes, it fucking clips through everything.
Yeah.
If you're going to give us fucking armor, please do not fucking just fucking take the extra minute to like fix that.
Insomniac
Yeah.
is also, like, I won't say bad about that, but it's a problem in their like Spider-Man games too. Is some of those cutscenes or like, some of those costumes don't work very well with the cutscenes.
No, I definitely noticed that in those games.
And to be fair, a lot of games do that too. But
Yeah, I know. One thing I will give this game credit for in the cutscenes is that, whenever you, like, if you have a helmet on, whenever you go into the cutscene, it'll take your helmet off, but it won't just be like you're not wearing it. It'll like actually show them taking it off.
that is
Like
cool.
it'll like fade away with its technology or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like for 1 second in the cutscene you're wearing your helmet, and then it explains that it's no longer on.
That
It
is
doesn't
cool.
just disappear.
I didn't know that because I never used the fucking armor, so that is
Right.
cool.
Yeah, it's nice because I don't see a lot of games do that. Where like a lot of the time it'll just be like, yeah, you're not fucking wearing that, whatever.
Because that is also canon technology, and that's why all the weapons
Right.
just like magically appear in your hand because they can just do that.
Right? Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to mention is that, and this is a pet peeve I have with a few of the Ratchet games.
Sure.
The helipack is fucking useless in this game. Like, it's never used for anything.
No, it's not.
Because you have it's the same problem with the Crack in Time. You're split up from Clank for half of it, so you can't, the helipack can't be integral to the gameplay.
Yeah.
So you have your rocket boots. And I like the rocket boots, especially for traversing the big open planet.
Yeah.
The thing is that because of the helipack not being as integral, you can't do long jumps and you can't do high jumps. And that's
Right.
really fucking weird, considering that, like, that's like in all of the games, I think. Even in A Crack in Time, I think you can do that. I might be wrong about that, but the thing about A Crack in Time is I think you could high jump with the boots or something. So that was really weird. And I also think it's weird that on top of them not thinking about the helipack at all, for the rest of the game after the intro, Clank's arm is missing, so when you do the helipack, it's just like half of it is operational.
Yeah, I thought that was really annoying.
Yeah. Which, the gold bolts in this game are used to, like, change cosmetics for the most part. Like, change, like, you can change the way your wrench looks and the way, like, the characters, like...
And change their head size.
Yeah, and you can change their, like, ship skins, and you can change, like, the way that the bolts look and stuff.
Right.
I wish they would have had one where, like, just, like, repair Clank, or, like, put Kit on Rivet's back, like, for when you're going back and completing stuff after you beat the final boss.
Right.
Or, like, something like that. I had one more note that I haven't talked about yet. The battle arena in this game fucking blows. It sucks.
You think so?
Yes, compared to the other games, it's fucking awful.
Sure, yeah.
Because every Ratchet and Clank game except for the first one has a battle arena. Except maybe the remake. I don't remember if the remake shoehorned one in or not. The fact that I don't remember says enough. But yeah, it's bad because a lot of so there's only 3 cups in the battle arena, which it goes into the Nexus route with the battle arena with the cups, and I fucking don't like that to begin with. And half of the challenges are you're stuck using one weapon, and like, okay, if this was a Tools of Destruction battle arena where you like there's like 50 fucking different things, like, okay, sure, have your fucking single weapon ones. But it's literally there's 15 of them, and it's literally half of them, and all of them where you're stuck using one weapon suck, because the ammo count in this game, at least for the weapons that you're using in those challenges, is not very high. And the ammo boxes are annoyingly spread out. Did you do any of the battle arena stuff at all?
Oh, I did all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it not bother you at all?
I mean, I didn't. There were some of it. Some of the levels I didn't like that much, but I enjoyed most of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you hadn't had if you hadn't played the other games like I have, then I can see why it wouldn't be that like it's still like fun, but compared to the other games, it sucks dick.
Right.
Even compared to like 2, I think the battle arena in Ratchet and Clank 2 is better.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it does what it needs to do. I just think that they could have done more with it, and like half of them are ones where you're stuck using a certain weapon, and then like 3 of them are dedicated to that fucking stupid like spinning thing. Like the
oh yeah,
like the grinder or whatever the fuck.
I feel like they definitely could have come up with more ideas.
Yeah.
Instead of just reusing that shit.
One of them was like a racetrack, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done that twice instead of the spinny thing twice.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring up before, in case I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have like a huge amount of complaints about this game, at least compared to the amount of stuff that I have to say about it that's good.
Sure.
But when you're talking about a game like this, where like, yeah, I love this game, but you have to like dig into that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Because this is also like I've played this game enough to notice that stuff more now too. So it does detract more than my first playthrough.
Right. it's more noticeable when you're not just still taking everything in.
Yeah, yeah. No, because I was like pure hype when this game came out. I know that you already know this, but just for the podcast, when this game came out, I did not have a job, and I
I forgot you. I thought you like. I was talking to someone about this game the other day, and I said that you had like requested off the weekend it came out because I forgot you were jobless when it came out.
No, I stayed up. Like I slept so much the day before this game came out, and the second it dropped on PlayStation, I got on, I played it for 15 hours straight, and I platinumed it that sitting.
That's so crazy.
That's the only game I've ever done that for.
The only thing I've even gotten close to doing that with is when I beat Resident Evil 8 in one sitting, and it took like 8 hours or something.
And to be fair, if I had a job, I definitely wouldn't have done that. And
right.
if the game was any longer, I wouldn't have done it.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Even when Metroid Dread came out, I still didn't have a job when Metroid Dread came out, and I didn't do that with Metroid Dread.
Right. Yeah, that's fucking insane.
Because, like, to be honest, in terms of like hype for video games, I don't think that I've been more hyped for a game since this game came out, and then since Metroid Dread came out.
Really?
Yeah. I guess Rebirth. I was pretty excited for Rebirth, but I wasn't like.
That makes sense though, because Ratchet and Clank and Metroid are like probably your two favorite series, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
I think the most hype I've been for a game was Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
Then like Sekiro.
And then when you tuned in, you didn't like it.
Yeah, pretty much. I was so excited for Sekiro because I was like, dude, this is because at that point, Dark Souls 3 was the game that like I really got into those series, like the FromSoft games. Not to get on like a whole different game tangent.
Yeah, it's alright. We're already pretty much done with our discussion about this game anyway. Yeah,
but because that was like the second game that I was like part of the party with, like I was already in the community, I was so excited for it. I was like, I'm not gonna watch any of the trailers. I watched the reveal trailer. After the teaser, I watched the reveal trailer, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch any of the gameplay trailers. I'm just gonna go in as blind as possible, and it's gonna be awesome. So I'm thinking it's like just Dark Souls, but you're playing as a shinobi.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fucking play it, and there's like no customization or anything. And you don't create a character. You're playing as Sekiro, and like that's the game. And because of that, I was initially very disappointed. But
you learned your lesson.
Upon replaying it, it is solidified itself as like currently in my top 2 games of all time. So. Do you have anything else to say about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
Let me take another peek over my notes, but I don't think so. We could talk about the haptic feedback real quick. I don't think we really talked about it too much, but it's like this game and Astro's Playroom is like the only games to actually utilize it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because like in this game, like I know that usually what you go to is like the weapons and stuff, but even when you're walking around and like smacking stuff, like you feel like the ground that you're walking on. You can feel if it's metal or if it's like just like dirt.
Yeah.
That stuff is cool. I wish more games utilized that stuff, honestly.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool.
Like even the triggers, like not a lot of games actually utilize the triggers that much. Like it's like this Astro's Playroom and like other than just like utilized in a meaningful way, the only other thing I can think of is like in Rebirth there's a segment where it's like there's a scene in the original Final Fantasy VII where you're trying to like struggle against like Cloud's got his sword lifted up and he's trying to like fight the urge to use it, And in Rebirth, like it's fucking hard to pull on the triggers. Like you're trying really hard to pull on them, and it's really hard.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But other than that, I can't think of another game that like actually utilized them like really, really well. Like,
I think
even Rebirth is a stretch because it's the only thing I can think of that it's utilized well in. Is that scene?
An underrated game that uses the adaptive triggers is Call of Duty Cold War. That one, like, depending on what weapon you use, it feels like that's the weapon you're using.
Yeah, that's a fair one. That's the only reason I bought that game.
I genuinely think that's the only Call of Duty that did that too, because it was the first one on PS5.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just I don't ever really notice it that much because I get so engrossed in the what's happening on the screen that I don't. I usually play games without vibration on. For this playthrough, I played with it on, but usually that's not my cup of tea. I don't really like.
Bro, so you go out of your way to turn it off.
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay.
But like I said, in this playthrough, I kept it on.
It's definitely part of the experience for this game.
Yeah, no, if I know it's part of the experience, I'll keep it on. But I mostly play fucking fighting games and shooters.
Yeah.
So like it's more of a hindrance.
Yeah.
But for story games, like for any game we play on for the podcast, I'll have like the settings that it's supposed to be.
That's good.
So.
Yeah, I'm glad that we replayed this game because it's been a while since I played it, and I remember liking it a lot.
This was in this was in a small category of games where like I had beaten it, but like I don't consider it as a game I beat because it did not feel like I actually played it. Like when I played it at your house, I feel like I just went like straight to the objective every time.
Probably,
like, I probably finished with like 3 guns level 5 or something.
But no, I had a lot of fun revisiting it.
Yeah. You had a lot of fun riveting it?
Yes. God, yes.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably play more Ratchet and Clank games at some point.
I'm sure.
But it's like a Dark Souls kind of thing with you not wanting to play another FromSoft game for a while. I'm probably going to give that a little while. The next Ratchet game we play will probably be the first one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it is my favorite game of all time. But that'll be a ways off, probably.
Yeah.
But no, this is a good discussion about the game. I enjoyed talking about it since I'm a fucking Ratchet nerd.
I enjoyed playing it. Speaking of you being a nerd about games, what are we playing next?
Well, as you may have caught on when I was talking about how I played DMC 2 and 3, the next thing we're going to be doing, originally Donovan was going to choose one, but we're just
my interest has peaked in a different thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do the entire DMC series as our next thing because I just beat 1, 2, and 3 like throughout the last 2 weeks. Maybe not even that long, honestly. They're pretty short games.
I feel like you beat 2 in like 4 days or something.
Yeah.
And then 3 was about the same.
I think I beat 3 in like 3 days.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stop playing that game. That game was so fun.
No, that game's addicting.
But before we say too much about it, I'm like halfway through 4 right now, and I'm definitely
I'm fucking itching to talking about Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm just itching.
It's definitely going to be a good discussion. I was gonna say it's probably just gonna be like DMC like for like 3 hours when we do that episode. But you're coming back from Combo Breaker too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot to talk about.
So yeah, that's gonna be a loaded episode.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it's gonna be. We probably won't have like too much to say. I have a few things to say about 1 and 2. We probably won't talk about them for too long though.
No.
But no, I imagine us having a lot to talk about 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And I am going to check out the DMC reboot. We don't have to talk about it in depth if you don't want to. but I will
Sure.
definitely be playing it just to experience the entire series.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
that's gonna be a good discussion. I can't wait.
I'm very
As
excited.
someone that was never a DMC fan, I played 5 and that was like it. I've definitely come a long way. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's gonna be an awesome discussion.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
But no, this was a good talk.
Good talk.
So yeah, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel at Jerry and Gary Incorporated. Levi, if you're watching this, go check out our YouTube channel. Or listening to it, since it's a podcast. Now that we have 2 episodes done, I am going to try to get this on Spotify.
Cool.
Like I said, I don't think it'll be too much trouble, but it'll definitely be nice having it on that platform too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
Hell yeah.
We'll meet again next time when we talk about DMC, the entire fucking series, all 6, all 5 games, and maybe 1 other game.
It'll be fucking a full course podcast.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear all about your stuff at Combo Breaker too. That'll be.
I can't wait to experience all of it. I'm very excited.
It's gonna be crazy because Multiverses will be out by then too. So we'll have so much shit to talk about. Fucking 4-hour episode incoming.
Yeah, we'll just we'll record that episode as soon as you're done with DMC. Like whenever you feel like you've played them enough. Cause you finishing 4 and 5 and playing the reboot a little will give me enough time to refresh myself on them. Really, I feel like I only need to refresh myself on 2 and 4. Because I've played the other ones a shit ton.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about 2, honestly.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Well, I guess we'll end it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good talk, and I will end the recording now. We'll talk again next time.
Awesome.